My name's Artemis, and today I want to talk to you about something a little more serious and grounded, something that's close to my heart and that I would like to pass on to all of you. There's no secret or surprise that rates of depression and anxiety are on the rise, and I'm sure it's something that many of us struggle with on a daily basis, but it is a struggle I believe can be overcome if you know how, and oftentimes that know-how comes from life experience. So this week I want to share some of that valuable hard-won life experience by going over 5 life lessons and how they helped me. Anxiety is a bitch that I'm sure most of us have dealt with at least once or twice in our lives, and I fully accept that saying something as trite as manage your thinking is about as useful as telling someone with depression to cheer up. I do believe that it is combating those negative thought patterns which is the key to managing exactly how you deal with this thing. The world is full of so many massive, gigantic global stresses, such as climate change, the economy, the shop down the road running out of tea bags. So many things that are just out of our control, but huge stresses upon our life. And it's very easy to fall down the well of taking ownership of these things and, becoming very hopeless. Oh, what the fuck am I going to do? But as difficult as it is, you need to limit exactly how attached you get to this. You can't take ownership of such gigantic global problems when you really need to figure out some more emergent things like rent and your own personal happiness. It's not to say that you should ignore these giant things. Obviously, it's something we should all come together and try and solve together, but it does mean that you shouldn't take it all onto your own shoulder and try and take the burden as if it's your problem to personally solve. Gotta think about yourself. Case in point, I get super anxious about my future and where I'm actually going in life and moving out of this shithole town. It is something that gives me a sheer amount of panic. It really, really fucking worries me. So what do? I break it down. I could look at it as one big thing, I need to get out of this fucking town, but I actually break that down into smaller things. Like, what do I need to do to get to that? Suddenly you break it into steps, and you can see that there is a way forward, and it's not so daunting then when it's not some giant looming boulder, it's actually just a pile of gravel. You can just take away a stone at a time when you've done it. Same thing goes for future planning and future thinking. I mean, you can stress about things that might happen, but what's the point in worrying about that bridge over there you might have to cross if it turns out your path is going in the other direction? It's human nature for us to seek the approval and validation of each other and other people who are important in our lives. And while I'm not saying you should break away from people entirely, or maybe a little bit, you should definitely manage your expectations with them. Humans are a bunch of bastards. There's a lot of assholes out there. A lot of people that you quite frankly don't really need to love you. You don't really want them to love you. It's a simple matter of a clash of personalities. A lot of times people are just not compatible. They're not going to be able to get along. And, that's a good thing. That means that you can see that, oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't even bother with this person because we're just going to butt heads and not like each other. That means that you can move on and focus on those who actually have a connection with you. That's part of the wonderful diversity of life. It's an age-old corny line that I know we all struggle to fucking believe in sometimes, but the real policy here is to just be yourself. Don't pretend to be something else. Don't try and force yourself into somebody else's ideal of what they want out of a friend. You be the sort of person that you want to be, and the people that should gravitate towards you will. Yes, that will mean that some people will have to end up, not liking you, but ultimately, fuck them. People are always going to find an issue with something you do or say or who you are, and they're just identifying themselves as people who are not worth your fucking time. Have a bit of self-esteem and remember that you will find your way through and that you do deserve better than people who just want to tear you down because you shouldn't have been together in the first place. When it comes to the things you enjoy, keep this simple little quote in mind. The ones that mind don't matter, and the ones that matter don't mind. Our life experiences and histories are incredibly important and vital into shaping us to be the people that we ultimately are and will continue to be. And as important as they are, you might want to manage exactly how much you focus and dwell on your past. All experiences give us something to learn and develop from. Whether it's positive or negative is immaterial. It will give us something that shapes us in the future. Whether it's large or small, it will give us something that we will look back on and have learnt something from. And it is incredibly crucial that you look at these lessons and actually take on board the true message of them, and you don't let negative behaviour patterns continue to be a pattern. Yeah, reverse is also true. I mean, you have to remember that, being positive and having success perhaps isn't always going to work the way it did. After all, as a wise man once shouted at the moon, past performance is not a predictor of future results. Holding grudges and dwelling on these things does nothing for your future. In fact, it holds you back and limits your sense of enjoyment of things to come. Ultimately, holding a grudge is just like swallowing poison and expecting the other person to die from it. Now, I'm not saying that you should forget what happened. Definitely not. You should definitely keep it in mind to make sure it doesn't repeat itself in the future. But you sure as shit perhaps want to be able to move on from it and not obsess over it when ultimately it's gone. It's in the past. It's basically forgotten about by everyone but you. You can't move forward properly if you're always looking behind you. Focus on the happiness that you want out of your life. Focus on what you want your life to be. That is what is truly worth your attention and your focus. We are not always able to do things on our own. It is a sad fact that our pride will not often let us believe, and sometimes we need to take that helping hand, be it from a friend or from a professional. To make a very long story short, I came to a point in my life where I had made the decision that my life was not going to go the way I wanted it to, I couldn't get out of it what I wanted, and that I was done. I was going to get as much joy out of life as I could and end it. I set myself a date upon which I would leave this existence, and I just waited until it turned up. And that date arrived, and I went through one of the most negative experiences in my life, which seemed to me to be proof that, yep, well, you made the decision here, time to fucking do it. I didn't do it. I instead reached out to people in my life, to friends who honestly are not worthy of the title because they're fucking family to me now, to people who gave me that strength, showed me I had the strength to say, fuck that. I don't want to fucking feel like that. I don't want to be faced with such crushing hopelessness, so I'm going to fucking do something about it. They didn't do it for me. They didn't do any of the hard work for me. I did that myself. What they did was give me the strength and support to figure out how to do it. That is the help that you need. You all have the strength inside of you to do it yourself. Sometimes you just need someone in your corner helping you realise that. Now, I'm not going to say that this is some magic fairy tale where I defeated the demon once and it died forever. No, I did find myself struggling once again. It is a cycle. It's something we struggle to break free from. This time I sought professional help. And once again, I had that support that taught me how to do things that I needed to do, how to figure out things that I needed to figure out, and how to reconcile the past and move on to a better future. The help is always there, no matter what form it is in, and as difficult as it is to realise, it's not weakness, it's not selling out, okay? If you need that fucking help, get that fucking help. You are deserving of a better future. You are deserving of happiness, okay? You owe it to yourself and the person you will become to take those steps to be better. And this really is the most important little point that I could deliver to you, and it is to focus on the good, to focus on being happy. Use it as a driving force, something that makes you want to be better, to get better, to do better. You don't need to please everybody else. You don't need to live up to some invisible standards set upon you by society. You just need to do stuff that makes you happy. You just need to live a life that makes you happy, that gives you purpose. See, this is how you defeat the negative thinking. You practice mindfulness, okay? When the darkness comes, you remember the good. You remember those memories of times with friends. You remember how you felt during those times, how good it was, how loved you felt. You hold on to that and use it to burn away the darkness. And hell, if that sounds a little bit too poetical to you and like a fucking Facebook motivational quote, I'll give you some straight up logic advice if you want. If the paranoid voices in your head are telling you nobody loves you, then you counter them with evidence of the times that you were shown you are loved and still are. You fight them back and say, no, fuck you, actually. No, I have respect for the people that love me. I have belief and trust that they actually care for me. So fuck you, you don't get to tell me that. If the voices tell you you have no future, then you say, yeah, right. I thought that 5 years ago and look how far I fucking come. I thought I wasn't going to be able to do this, and this, and I did every single one of them. You have the strength, you have the tools, and you have the history and evidence. It's very difficult sometimes to see that you do have those things, but once you learn how to use them, you're going to be able to start taking control of your mindset and defeating that tiny little shitty voice that tells you that you don't deserve to be happy. It's wrong, by the way. It's very wrong. You all deserve happiness. So there we have it. There's 5 life lessons that help me. Hopefully they help you. I'm sure it's something that everybody will learn. And I do just want to say, in all honesty, in all seriousness, you all deserve that bit of happiness. You all deserve a better life than what you have. No matter how good that is, you all deserve goodness. Okay? If you're struggling, reach out. If you see someone struggling, reach out. If you need the help, reach out. You can't help yourself in a vacuum, okay? Just do yourself what you deserve. Do yourself that favor and find a way to get through to a better tomorrow, okay? Be safe, everybody. You all matter to everyone. You matter to me, okay? You matter to me.